All right, so let's talk about some important changes coming to the Canada-U.S. border that will be taking effect on January 6, 2024. The Canada Border Services Agency, CBSA, is adjusting the operating hours at various border crossings between Canada and the United States. This means that, starting in the new year, certain ports of entry will have different service hours. Now, you might be wondering, why is this happening, and how will it affect travelers and commercial traffic? Well, let's dive into it. So the main reason behind these changes is to improve efficiency and manage the flow of traffic more effectively at the border. As you can imagine, border crossings, especially the busier ones, can get pretty congested, leading to long wait times for both travelers and commercial vehicles. Yeah, I think we've all been stuck in those lines before, waiting forever just to get through customs, right? So, the CBSA is adjusting its hours to help alleviate some of that congestion. Essentially, they're trying to optimize the border's operations so people can cross more smoothly and with less frustration. Now, here's the deal. These changes are going to be different depending on the location of the crossing. Some border crossings will remain open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as usual. But others, especially those that don't see as much traffic, will have limited operating hours based on demand. Yeah, it's all about finding that balance between managing resources and making sure the system runs efficiently. For example, some smaller, less busy ports of entry may only be open during certain hours or days, so you'll definitely need to check ahead to know when those are. Okay, so let's talk about how this is going to affect travelers. If you're planning on crossing the border around the 6th of January or any time after that, it's super important to check the updated hours for the specific crossing you're using. You don't want to show up at a border crossing expecting it to be open, only to find out it's closed or operating with reduced hours. That could be a real headache. I see. This is especially important if you're traveling during off-peak hours, like late at night or very early in the morning, when some crossings may not be open. So, yeah, the best advice here is to be proactive and check those hours before you hit the road. The changes aren't just for regular travelers. If you're part of the commercial sector, these changes could affect you too. As you know, the border between Canada and the U.S. sees a lot of commercial traffic. Trucks transporting goods across the border for trade and business. With the new operating hours, the CBSA is looking to improve how quickly trucks can get through the border and make their deliveries. Right, that's crucial for businesses, as delays can lead to missed deadlines, extra costs, and a lot of frustration. So, the CBSA's goal is to streamline the process for freight carriers by adjusting the hours at certain crossings, based on when the traffic is highest or lowest. Now, yeah, I totally get it. This might sound a bit overwhelming if you're not used to dealing with border logistics, or if you're just a casual traveler who's not always thinking about when the border might be busiest. But trust me, these changes are really about making the whole process easier for everyone involved. I see. If you can avoid the busiest times by knowing the hours ahead of time, it'll make your border crossing much smoother. Okay, so how do you stay updated on these new hours? Well, the CBSA is going to make the information available through their official website, and they'll also be using social media and other channels to keep everyone informed. So, if you're planning a trip or you're going to be transporting goods across the border, it's a good idea to check the CBSA's website for the most current information. They'll list the updated operating hours for each border crossing, and you'll be able to find the one that best fits your travel or shipping schedule. Yeah, keeping up with these updates is key. I see. And one thing to keep in mind is that the CBSA is also making sure that these changes don't compromise security. Even with the reduced hours at some locations, the priority will always be maintaining high security standards. So, while the border might be open for fewer hours at certain points, you can rest assured that the same level of safety checks and customs inspections will still be in place. Right? Security is a top priority, and the CBSA will continue to monitor and inspect all vehicles and travelers as needed. Let's talk about the timing of these changes. They're coming into effect on January 6, so it's a good idea to start looking up the new hours as soon as possible, especially if you have a trip or shipment planned around that time. Yeah, having the right information ahead of time can save you a lot of time and potential stress. The last thing you want is to be caught off guard by a closed crossing or long waits because you didn't know about the new hours. Now, it's also worth noting that while some smaller crossings may have reduced hours, this doesn't mean the larger, more traffic crossings will necessarily have any fewer hours. The busiest border crossings are likely to stay open 24/7, just like they always have, because they handle the highest volume of traffic, both for travelers and commercial shipments. But still, if you're not crossing at one of those major ports of entry, you should definitely check the new hours. Yeah, staying informed will help you plan accordingly. I see. So what does all of this mean for the average traveler? Well, it mostly means that with a little bit of preparation, crossing the border can be easier and faster. By knowing when the crossings are open, you can avoid the worst of the traffic and minimize your wait times. Also, if you travel during less busy hours, you might find that the process is much quicker than if you go during peak times, when the border is likely to be packed. So, yeah, if you're planning ahead and checking the new schedules, you'll be setting yourself up for a smoother border experience, right? And for those of you who may not travel across the border frequently, this is still something worth paying attention to. Even if you're just crossing once in a while, these changes could have a significant impact on your travel plans. So, I definitely recommend checking the CBSA site or their social media pages just to stay in the loop. The more information you have, the better prepared you'll be. In summary, the new CBSA service hours will help make the border more efficient by adjusting hours at different crossings, especially for those that experience varying levels of traffic. These changes will take effect on January 6, 2024, and it's important to check the updated hours for your specific crossing to avoid any surprises. Whether you're a traveler or a business relying on cross-border shipments, staying informed will make all the difference. So, yeah, make sure to check the hours ahead of time and enjoy a smoother, faster crossing experience.
Thanks for watching our video. Please hit the button and subscribe the channel.